A $1 device can pull water out of thin air, not metaphorically, literally, and some governments didn't like it because it worked too well, because it was too cheap, because it threatened a billion-dollar industry. Imagine never buying bottled water again. Imagine surviving anywhere, desert, island, city blackout, no pipes, no tankers, no filters, just air and a tiny setup anyone can build. That's where things get strange, because this isn't new, this knowledge existed decades ago, then it disappeared. Quietly, no headlines, no announcements, just gone, until now. Welcome to Life Hack Factory, where simple ideas break expensive systems, where cheap beats complex, and where hidden knowledge comes back to life. Today's story sounds impossible, but it isn't. It's physics, it's chemistry, it's survival. And maybe it's been buried on purpose, because when people can make their own water, they stop paying for it. Let that sink in. Water is a trillion-dollar ecosystem. Bottled brands, purification plants, delivery systems, subscription filters, emergency supplies, and all of it depends on one thing, you needing them. But what if you didn't? What if the air around you was enough? Because here's the truth. The air you breathe is loaded with water, even in dry places, even when you can't see it. Invisible moisture, floating everywhere, waiting, and this tiny method taps into it. No electricity required in its simplest form, no expensive machinery, no engineering degree, just basic materials, and a process that feels almost illegal too. No, that's why rumors started spreading about certain countries testing it, then restricting it, not publicly, but quietly. Local bans, limited distribution, strange regulations, because when something costs $1 and replaces a $100 system, it becomes a problem for someone, but not for you. So where did this come from? Who figured it out first? And why did it vanish? The story goes back further than you think, before modern water tech. Before sleek machines and smart filters, back when survival meant innovation, back when people had no choice but to figure things out, and someone did. Someone noticed something strange, water forming where it shouldn't, in places with no rain, no rivers, no visible source, just air and temperature. That observation changed everything. But like many breakthroughs, it didn't stay in the spotlight. It slipped into obscurity until now, because today, you're about to see how it actually works and why it scared the wrong people. It started with a mistake, not in a lab, not in a billion-dollar facility, but in a small workshop, somewhere in Eastern Europe, late 1980s. A technician named Dr. Alexei Morozov was testing industrial drying agents, materials designed to remove moisture from machines, keep them rust-free, stable, durable, but something unexpected happened. One of the containers started dripping, not leaking, dripping, water. Clean water from sealed air. At first he thought it was contamination, a broken seal, humidity intrusion, but the readings didn't match. The air was dry, extremely dry, yet the material kept pulling moisture at a molecular level, like a magnet, invisible attraction, tiny particles bonding, condensing, becoming liquid. That moment changed his direction completely. He stopped studying drying systems and started studying water creation, not creation from nothing, but extraction, harvesting what already exists. He wasn't alone either. Across the world, similar discoveries were happening, independently, in silence, in places like Chile, where desert communities survived using fog nets, pulling water from the air, one drop at a time, and in Morocco, where mountain villages used stone surfaces to capture condensation overnight. Nature was already doing it. Humans just needed to copy it. But here's where things get uncomfortable, because once the science became clear, funding disappeared, projects stalled, and in some cases, research was classified. Not all of it, but enough to slow things down, because this wasn't just science anymore. It was disruption. Massive disruption. Think about desalination plants, expensive, energy-hungry, complex infrastructure. Now imagine replacing parts of that system with something you can build for less than $5. It doesn't make sense financially for them, but scientifically, it makes perfect sense. Here's why. Air holds water vapor, always, even at low humidity. Those molecules move freely, floating, unseen. But when they meet the right surface, the right temperature, the right chemical structure, they slow down, they cluster, they bond, they turn into liquid. That's condensation, but this method enhances it, accelerates it, amplifies it, using materials that actively pull moisture, not passively wait for it. That's the key difference. Traditional systems wait. This system hunts, and the secret lies in hygroscopic materials, substances that absorb water from air, aggressively, relentlessly. At a molecular level. One of the cheapest examples Simple salts, like calcium chloride, or even certain types of silica, cheap, accessible, powerful, these materials don't just sit there, they react, they pull moisture inward, break the balance, force vapor to become liquid. And when combined with temperature differences, the effect multiplies suddenly. You're not waiting for dew, you're creating it. On demand. That's what Morozov realized. That's what others confirmed. And that's what quietly disappeared from mainstream attention. Because once you understand this, everything changes. Water stops being scarce. It becomes extractable. Anywhere, anytime. And that's a dangerous idea. Because control over water is control over people. And this method breaks that control completely. Now here's the part they never wanted simple. The part they complicated on purpose. Because turning this into a DIY setup is easier than you think and cheaper than anyone would admit. You don't need a lab, you don't need a machine, you don't need permission, you just need to understand the process, because once you do, this becomes almost too easy. Start with a container. Any sealed box will work. Plastic, glass, even a simple food container. Nothing fancy. Now inside that container, you place your moisture hunter, the key ingredient, a hygroscopic material, the cheapest option. Calcium chloride, often sold as a dehumidifier refill, or even road salt in some places. Cost? Around $1, $2, $3. That's it. This material is aggressive. It pulls water from air constantly, even when humidity feels low. Now spread it inside the container, not packed tight, loose. Breathing space matters, because surface area increases efficiency. More exposure, more absorption. Next step. You create separation because you don't want the water mixing directly with the material. Use a mesh, cloth, or even a perforated plastic layer, anything that allows air through, but keeps the liquid separate below that layer. Leave empty space. This is where your water collects. Now comes the silent trick, airflow, because stagnant air slows everything down. So you create tiny openings, small holes. Enough to let air pass through, but not large enough to lose structure. Now place the container somewhere strategic, near a window, on a rooftop, outside at night. Anywhere with temperature shifts, because temperature difference boosts condensation. Warm air enters, cool surface meets it. Reaction begins at a molecular level. Water vapor starts bonding, clustering, turning into droplets. Those droplets grow, they get heavy, they fall, and they collect below, drop by drop. Silent.constant.no electricity required.no noise, no moving parts. Now here's where it gets powerful after several hours. You check the container, and you'll see it. Actual liquid water, not vapor, not mist, real droplets, formed from nothing but air. People underestimate this moment until they see it themselves, because it feels like cheating. Now take it further. You can scale this, multiple containers, different locations, better airflow design, and suddenly, you're producing measurable amounts of water daily, not gallons at first, but enough to prove the concept, enough to survive, enough to break dependency, and here's the upgrade they never talk about, add a cooling surface. Even a simple metal plate or aluminum sheet placed above the setup. This enhances condensation dramatically because metal loses heat quickly, creates a cold surface, pulls more moisture out of the air. Now your system becomes hybrid, absorption plus condensation, two forces working together, efficiency doubles, sometimes triples, still. Under $5, still simple, still accessible to anyone. Now you're not just experimenting, you're engineering, and the longer it runs, the more consistent it becomes. But here's the question everyone asks, is the water safe? And that's where things get even more interesting, because the answer depends on one final step, a step so simple. It completes the entire system and turns this from a trick into a real survival tool. Here's the part they always complicate, because simplicity kills profit, and this step is as simple as it gets. The water you collected is real, but it's not ready yet, not because it's dangerous, but because it needs refinement. Tiny particles may be present, traces from the material, airborne dust, microscopic impurities, nothing dramatic, but enough to require one final step, filtration. And you don't need a lab filter, you don't need a machine, you build it yourself for almost nothing. Start with a bottle, cut the bottom off, flip it upside down, now you have a funnel, inside that funnel. Layer your materials, cloth at the bottom, then charcoal, crushed if possible, then sand, then small gravel. Each layer has a role, each layer traps something, particles, odor, impurities. What comes out the bottom is cleaner, clearer, safer. Now pour your collected water slowly, let gravity do the work, no pressure, no rush, drop by drop filtration, and just like that, you've completed the system, air to water, from nothing visible to something drinkable. Now here's where reality hits hard, because this isn't theory anymore. People have tested this quietly in different parts of the world. Survivalists, off-grid communities, disaster zones, even students, and the results. Consistent, repeatable, real. Compare that to bottled water, you pay daily, forever. Compare that to filtration systems, you replace cartridges again and again. Compare that to delivery services, monthly bills, endless dependency. But this, you build it once, maintain it cheaply, and it keeps working. Silently, independently. Now think bigger. What happens if entire communities use this? What happens if remote villages adopt it? What happens if disaster relief includes this instead of shipments? Everything changes, logistics collapse, costs disappear, control weakens, and that's the uncomfortable truth, because systems built on dependency don't like independence, they resist it, they bury it. They ignore it until people rediscover it themselves, like you just did. This isn't magic, it's not illegal, it's not even new, it's just forgotten or ignored or quietly pushed aside because it works too well, too cheaply, too freely. Now you have it, the knowledge, the method, the power to try it yourself, and once you see that first drop, you won't look at air the same way again. Because you'll know what's hidden inside it and what you can pull from it anytime you want. So don't keep this to yourself, because knowledge like this spreads power. Share it, test it, improve it, and let others see what's possible. This is what John Knowledge is about: breaking systems, exposing simple truths, and putting control back in your hands. Subscribe if you want more like this, because there's always more hidden in plain sight, and the next one might be even bigger than this.